When you look at what the BOE would be worried about under a Labour government, is it workplace? Is it how they do fiscally?
Yeah, I mean, it is fiscal. But if you look at Labour's manifesto, it's quite striking about how modest their offering is. You've got £9 billion of spending pledges funded by about £9 billion of tax rises. So in the context of a £3 trillion economy, that's pretty small. So what the BOE are going to be watching on election night, yeah, they'll see. Obviously, they'll be looking at the results come in. But I think in terms of does it affect their path going into the second half of this year, I don't think so. Of course, we have a budget probably in the autumn. That will be the main moment. But as things stand right now, does what either political party has announced change their thinking? I don't think so.
I mean, we have anemic growth at the moment. How's Labour going to achieve their targets?
Well, that's another great question. And it's really interesting that Keir Starmer's talking about this 2.5%, or at least 2.5% growth. And that's the sort of growth we had prior to the financial crisis. It's not something we've had since here in the UK. And it feels to me that it's sort of getting there is based on two things. One is this idea of bringing certainty and getting rid of what they call the chaos. And they think that will bring a growth dividend, maybe. On the other side, there's the fiscal element to it, which, as I say, is very, very modest. So I think that we heard Mike Brewer say there, you know, they might get lucky. But it doesn't feel to me that what Labour are saying will be the source of that growth. It might be something external, something exogenous that propels the UK economy faster than everyone has expected. Equally, there's a big risk on the downside as well, and we've been hit by a lot of negative shocks recently, and they need to be prepared for that outcome as well.
And then, I mean, this feels like not a huge market event because basically it's a centre-left party.
Well, that's the thing, and I think the interesting thing for investors here is, and you know, a lot of my Bloomberg colleagues have been writing about it, is the difference between now the UK seems sort of a beacon of stability if compared to what might be going on elsewhere in the world. So there's been this sort of switch around, and that possibly, you know, going to one more point, going back to the original question about growth, that might be a boon to growth as well. So I think you're right, this isn't a big market event domestically, but when you look at the UK in the context of global markets, actually it's quite a positive outcome for the UK to have a sort of stable centrist government.